You buy a coffee, $5. You tap your card. The coffee shop gets $4.72. You didn't agree to that. Neither did they. 28 cents went somewhere. It went to 5 different companies, and most people get the first part wrong. They think Visa took it. Visa's name is on the card. Visa took 3 cents. 3 out of 28. So who took the other 25? Your bank did. The bank that gave you the card in your pocket. It took 18 cents. It is the largest cut in the entire transaction. And here is the part that should bother you. You paid that fee even if you used cash, because the shop cannot absorb it. A supermarket keeps 1 or 2%. The fee is more than 2. So the shop does the only thing it can do. It puts the fee in the price, quietly, on everything, for everyone. You are not paying this at the register. You are paying it at the shelf. The bank collected 18 cents from that coffee. Then it handed you 10 cents back and called it cashback. And you thanked them. That fee is one pipe. There are 3. 3 ways the card in your pocket makes money. You have heard of one of them. The second one is bigger, much bigger, and it is not the one you think. And the third one is the one nobody argues about, because almost nobody notices it. By the end of this, all 3 of these will be filled in, and you will be able to see exactly which one you are standing in. Pipe 1 is the swipe. Every time a card touches a terminal, the shop pays a fee. In the industry, it has a name, Interchange, but the name is not the point. The number is. Here is the number, from Visa's own published rate table, effective April 2026. A standard rewards credit card, in person. 1.65% of the sale, plus 10 cents. Hold on to that 10 cents. It matters more than it looks. On your $5 coffee, the shop's processor charges 28 cents. 18 of those cents go to your bank, 7 go to the processor, and 3 go to Visa. Now, everybody in this story believes Visa is the villain. Visa's name is on the card. Visa runs the ads. Visa is the one you can name. Visa took 3 cents. Here is Mastercard, in its own filing with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Quote, although we do not earn revenues from interchange, they wrote that. Under oath, more or less. Visa says the same thing in its own filing. Visa and Mastercard set the fee. They do not collect it. They are the referee, not the player. They make their money on a much smaller toll, about 0.3% of everything that moves across their rails, which does not sound like much. Last year, that toll produced $40 billion of revenue for Visa and $20 billion of profit, a 50% net margin. Both things are true. They take the smallest cut, and it is one of the best businesses on earth. Now, go back to that 10 cents. The fee has 2 parts, a percentage and a flat fee. The percentage scales. The flat fee does not. On a $100 pair of shoes, the total fee is about $2.75. That is 2.75%. On a $5 coffee, the total fee is 28 cents. That is 5.6%. Your coffee is taxed twice as hard as your shoes. Which is why, when you try to buy a pack of gum with a card, some shops have a minimum. It is not that they are being difficult. It is that on a $2 sale, the fee eats them alive. Across the United States, in 2024, merchants paid $187 billion in card processing fees. That is the Nielsen report's number. For every $100 you spent on a card, the merchant paid $1.57 to be allowed to accept it. That is pipe 1, and it is not the big one. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. I pay my balance in full every month. This part isn't about me. You are right. It is not about you. It is about the person standing behind you in the queue. And it is about half of America. Roughly half of all active credit card accounts carry a balance. Not for a month, as a way of life. Those people pay interest. And in 2024, according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, they paid $160 billion of it. Let me put that next to pipe 1, Interchange, the swipe fee, the one everyone argues about, the one that has 3 separate acts of Congress named after it, is roughly $65 billion. Interest is $160. The swipe fee is not the main business. It never was. It is the appetizer. The main business is debt. And here is where it gets strange. If you pay your bill in full, the bank earns nothing from you in interest. 0. Not a reduced amount. Nothing. Worse than nothing, actually. When you tapped that card, the bank paid the coffee shop within days, out of its own money, and then it waited up to 25 days for you to pay it back. It funded your coffee at its own cost and charged you nothing for the privilege. The CFPB says it plainly. Quote, an issuer incurs costs when funding balances for both transactors and revolvers, yet only earns interest revenue from revolvers. Read that again. If you pay in full, the bank spends money on you and earns no interest from you. So who pays for you? The person who doesn't pay in full. Your grace period. The 25 days where your money is still yours and the coffee is already yours. Is not a gift from your bank. It is a service, and somebody is funding it, and it is not the bank. If you are the one who pays in full every month, you have been told your whole life that you are the responsible one. You are. You are also being subsidized by the person who isn't. Pipe 3 is the one nobody talks about because it is the one that only shows up when you make a mistake. Fees. Late fees, annual fees, cash advance fees, foreign transaction fees. In 2024, Americans paid $31.3 billion in credit card fees. $17 billion of that was late fees alone. $17 billion for being a few days late. That is more than the entire domestic box office of the American film industry, paid in small pieces, mostly by people who were already short of money. Here's the machine. 3 pipes in. The swipe at roughly 65 billion. The interest at 160. The fees at 31. And 1 pipe out. Rewards $47.5 billion handed back to cardholders in points, miles, and cash back. That is the whole business on one page. Now, there is one arrow on this diagram that I have been drawing since the first minute of this video, and I have not defended it once. This one, the claim that the swipe fee ends up in the price you pay, including when you pay cash. Visa's economists say that arrow is not there, and they are not stupid people, so let's take them seriously. Their strongest version of the argument goes like this. Merchants do not pass every cost on to customers. They eat some of it. There is a body of research on this, and it puts the pass-through rate, the share of a cost that actually reaches the shelf, at somewhere between 22 and 74%. Most studies land near half, so if only half of the fee reaches the price, the arrow I drew is twice as thick as it should be. Now, I should tell you who is holding the pen. The best version of that argument comes from the International Center for Law and Economics. That report carries no funding disclosure, and the organization does not publish its donors. What it does tell you on the report itself is that the lead author is a senior fellow at the Cato Institute, and he has argued against this kind of regulation for years. And the most cited critique of the whole cross-subsidy idea, a paper called A Re-Examination, says, on page 4, that the authors wish to thank the American Bankers Association for funding it. That does not make either of them wrong. It does mean you know whose hand is on the page. So let's do the thing they would least like us to do. Let's take their number. Take the low end, 22%. The arrow gets thin. It does not disappear. And there is a reason it can't. Interchange is not a cost that one shop pays. Every shop pays it. Your coffee place, the one across the street, and the chain down the road. All of them at the same time, at roughly the same rate. When a cost hits an entire industry at once, economics says it goes almost all the way through to the price. Nobody can absorb it and stay in business, because nobody's competitor is absorbing it either. And we have measured this. When the United States capped debit card fees, researchers went and looked at what happened to restaurant prices. They found the change passed through at roughly 1-for-1. So here is where I will actually leave it. And I want to be precise, because this is the part every other video on this topic gets sloppy about. The width of that arrow is genuinely contested. The arrow is not. Which brings us back to the pipe out, the rewards. $47.5 billion a year, handed back to you, cash back, points, miles. Where does that money come from? It comes from the swipe. It is paid out of the fee. And I want to be careful here, because there is a comfortable story people tell, that the rewards cost the banks more than they collect, that the whole thing is a loss leader, that you are getting away with something. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau looked at that and wrote this, quote, "General purpose card issuers typically earn more in interchange than they spend in the form of rewards. More in than out. After paying every point, every mile, and every cent of cash back, the banks are still ahead by roughly 0.3% of everything you spend. Your cashback is not a gift. It is a rebate on a fee, and the house is still up." So, how do credit card companies make money? They take a fee from the shop, which the shop puts in the price, which you pay whether or not you use a card. They lend you money and charge you interest, unless you pay in full, in which case somebody else's interest is paying for your grace period. And they charge you a fee when you slip, and then they hand a little of it back and put your name on a lounge. I am not going to tell you to cancel your card. That is not what this channel does. It is not free money. It is a redistribution, and now you can see which side of it you are standing on. If the diagram helped, like it. That is the signal that puts it in front of the next person who has been paying that 28 cents without ever seeing it. And subscribe. Turn the bell on too. YouTube won't show you the next one otherwise, which, if you think about it, is its own kind of machine. One last thing. That fee goes into the price. Everybody pays it, including people who don't own a card and never have. Somebody has actually run that number. It is $30 billion a year, and it only moves in one direction. Who is it moving from, and who is it moving to? That's next.